What's up, everybody? My name is Jason, and welcome to Small Biz on this very rare TGIF video just after 11 o'clock. Last trade on MULN, 31 cents a share. The obvious question of this day is, why in the world is MULN pumping in the midst of a weak jobs number, crashing interest rates, and how in the world does that mean that stocks from here until the end of the year are going higher? All that and more coming right up. TGIF, huh? Check this out. TGIF, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're doing well. The Dow is currently up about 150 points. Yeah, I see it. 12 and a half cents. You better be in there buying the motherfucker. You'll understand why when it went to 14 and change, and some of you pulled the ripcord on that. Why I was still staying down at 12 and a half, or what we call the mid 12s in the buy zone. So yeah, and I see another one that's getting really interesting about right now. I think they report earnings in 10 days. But if you're inside of the Discord, you know, but I want to spend 10 or maybe even 15 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, not only telling you that the worst is over, not only emphasizing that you should have bought TLT at 82 and a half and the IWM last Friday at 161 or 162 and change, but you need to get the fuck away from the 5 people that you hang out with the most if they're not putting money in your fucking pocket all day long on the fake news and social media outlets like X or Twitter. It's doom and gloom. Oh, bankruptcies are up, credit card delinquencies, somebody's house burned to the fucking ground. We're in the midst of World War III. Wrong. We're about to have flying cars and trips to fucking Mars. Do you realize what the productivity impact of something we call AI is going to have on this world, as the market, in the case of the Dow and the S&P, have not only reclaimed the 200-day moving average, but we're busting up and through on the cues of the 50-day moving average. The worst is over. Do not listen to those clowns like Mike Wilson at Morgan Stanley, who's calling for 3,900 on the Dow, or excuse me, on the S&P by the end of the year. Fucking wrong again. Same idiot, same clown, same fool that should have been fired a long time ago that said the S&P was going to finish this year at 3,200. I'm telling you right now, if you pull up a 100-year chart on the S&P 500, we've had 2 and now in the midst of the 3rd major secular bull markets. From the 1940s to the late 60s, and then from the lows of 1982 under Reagan to the dot-com bubble burst. You go up for 26, you go sideways for 10 or 12. You went up for 27 into 2000, you went sideways for 10 or 12. We're in the midst, halfway through, of the 3rd major secular bull market that will last until roughly 2034 or 5 when I retire at the age of 65, supposedly. But I am committing right here, right fucking now, to at least 10 or 12 years inside of the Discord, and they're almost gone. We have already sold out our premium. We only have 155 now remaining of the Discord. Go to trysmallbiz.com after this video is over. If you're not fucking convinced, then you are on the wrong fucking planet and you can unfollow this channel. But I would go to trysmallbiz.com. But we're halfway through the 3rd major secular bull market in U.S. history, let's call it, or the last 100 years. The last one was driven by baby boomers and something that Al Gore invented called the internet. But this 3rd secular bull market, yeah, that was a joke. I hope you laughed. This 3rd secular bull market, is driven by the millennials that as of 8 months ago overtook the boomers in terms of buying, spending, and investment power. And we now have something called artificial intelligence. Google, Goldman Sachs, the brightest minds on the planet are saying it's going to dwarf what the internet and the advent of the cell phone gave us. And the productivity gains, I'm telling you, that are going to start next year when all this revenue starts cranking with NVIDIA and Microsoft and Amazon and Tesla, etc. It's going to be, yes, we are going to have somewhat of an unemployment problem. If you work in a job that can be replaced by an algorithm or a machine, you might be in trouble. But if you have empathy, compassion, love, you have high EQ, emotional intelligence, your job security is going to be through the roof. If you work on, fix, repair, AI, computers, you name it, you're going to be in huge fucking demand. But if a robot or a drone can do what you do, you might want to consider doing something else. But I'm telling you right now, if you get your fucking ass inside of the Discord, where we made a 98% on our money 3 times this week, in and out of RNAZ, in and out of RSLS twice. Looks good that we got out. Some of you as high as 31 last night. Last trade, 25 and a quarter. I can help you make a fucking fortune, not only trading what some people call penny stocks, but investing. I was telling you to buy TLT at 82.5. The 10-year was peaking at 5%. We had one of the biggest, fastest drops in interest rates over the last 72 hours in U.S. history. The worst is over. The Fed is going to be cutting by 200 basis points by the end of next year when we have somewhat of a mild recession in the first fucking half. I could keep going on and on, but how about this? How about the fact that I have a 95% win rate in the last several months inside the Discord? 22 wins, huh? How about you? Those of you that bought Shop. I did a write-up. I said it was a buy-in at around 50. Boom, 60 and change. Fubo, F-U-B-O. LIFW, a stock we traded before the split. It was at 142. Look it up. Search it in the top if you're in there on Discord. I said, wait for a pullback into the mid-120s. It came all the way down. That's all, folks. We don't edit around here, so if you're new, welcome. All the way down to 126. Boom, all the way to 3.25. You could have more than doubled your fucking money in that stock in 4 days. I could keep going on and on and on. And yes, I am going to set up an Ask Jason channel. And yes, it's true that I tag at everyone when I do a trade. I will do it with respect to the greens, which is about 15% of the Ask Jasons that I support. But I'll also make it easier for you to find the yellows, like Shop, like LIFW. And yes, the core holdings, which we are what now, 8 or 9-0 inside of the Discord, for north of 200%. And if you've been following me for the last 18 going on 19 months, we're at 175 winners, 16 losses to be exact, for almost 1,600 fucking percent. And you're still sitting there with your unlubricated thumb up your fucking ass, thinking, what? The world's coming to an end? World War III is about to begin. Don't you realize that they can't have that? The hidden hand, the men behind the curtain, mostly white, about 5'6" fucking tall. They can't have World War III. Yeah, they want skirmishes. Yeah, they want to launder money through places like Ukraine and elsewhere, probably Taiwan. That's next. But they can't have the whole thing melt down. Otherwise, their system, which they call the matrix, if you will, is going to collapse. It's already in the process of collapsing, so to speak, as more and more people like myself and many of you that are in the Discord realize that even if shit is hitting the fan, we made a fortune last year in the stock market, trading stocks that most people laugh at, but that's only half at most of your money. For the vast majority of you, 2/3 or 3/4, and I talk about this all the time, inside of the Discord should be in SPY, QQQ, and IWM. That's the S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100, and the Russell 2000, which again, you could have in the latter part, and I was telling people, IWM at 162, last trade 174.5, buy it. Do not fucking chase it now. Do not be like those dumb motherfucking retail investors that choked on their fucking nads last Friday, and now they're chasing the same stock they sold 10, 20, 30% higher. You don't do that, and this guy right here will make sure it won't happen. In closing, MULN, last trade, 3077. We got and reclaimed 30 cents. We got to get through 35 on a closing basis to challenge a half. That's going to be a motherfucker. If we get up and through that, and I think there's a very strong possibility that we will, there is a major fucking brick wall that's going to be almost impossible to penetrate at 75. And as many people watching, and if you're among the 40% that stuck around this far, I thank you. Our analytics say that by the time I get halfway, they drop off. So some of you are pontificating that the reason why David's in a blackout period for such an extended time is he's getting ready to make an acquisition, perhaps of CENN, C-E-N-N. The woman that used to run the show there is now the chief sales officer at MULN. Is that possible? Yeah. Do they have a commercial fleet operation in terms of CENN? Yeah, but it's knocking on heaven's door. It was anyway the last time I looked at it at 17 or 18 cents. So I'm not so certain that's going to be smart, but who the fuck knows? The important part is if you're long the stock like me at 88-cent average, we're successfully setting a series of higher lows. If we break 24 cents on the downside, it's over. Stick your fucking head between your legs if you can get it down that far and kiss your ass goodbye. because here comes a massive 1 for 50 to 100 reverse split. And the lawyers who originally wanted to bend us all over the desk, all the way in and up and out the other side with no lube, are going to get their way. But if it happens according to plan, you and I are going to have a very tough decision to make in the next 2 months when we get up in between 50 and 75, maybe 80 cents a share. If I get up anywhere near where I own it, I'm getting out of half. I'm telling you that right now, and probably all. I, at one point, like most of you, was down 90%. I'm now down about 60%. If I get down 20, 25%, that's going to be a very easy decision for me to make at a minimum to lighten the load, to reduce the amount of risk, because I do believe there's at least a 50% chance of a 1 for 5 or no more, hopefully, than 1 for 10 reverse. They are, in my opinion, 6 to 9 months away from being where they should have been when they came public. They came public too early. Same story with MCOM, which is now lean and mean. The buy zone 3.5, the sell zone lately is 4.5. Some of you have made a fortune playing that range. But both of them came public a little too early. If they could have came public now, even if they would have done the dilution, they would have been able to support the stock a lot better instead of being down 99.9%. So, simply put, if you're long the stock or you bought some like me at a quarter or 26 and change, you got to be fairly happy on this Friday afternoon, actually morning, that the stock is moving in the right direction. We want to see 36, then 50, and then a one fucking hell of a battle is going to take place at 75. And that's when we're going to get the second and the third, the third lick of the lollipop. I hear you. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, always remember that I love you. I really, really do. And thank you so much for watching. Got to be 5 o'clock somewhere.